it's me, Justine. So starting to get into some of these actual topics and discussions that I want to hit on. One of the first things that came to mind was actually something quite positive. One of the things is, as a clinician or as a therapist, I talk to clients all the time about trying to focus on the positive, which sounds very cliche, but focusing on the positives in the sense of having gratitude or being grateful. And so I do try to look for some of the positive things happening in society, in the media. And one of those things is a lot of celebrities, famous people, role models for us everyday people. More of them are starting to talk about therapy. I think they've always kind of sought it out, but they're actually talking about their experiences with mental health therapy. And so that's what I want to kind of dive into today. So the most recent example, and there may be other ones that have come up recently as well, but the main one I want to focus on today is Michael B. Jordan. And the reason why I want to focus on that is because he is Black. And he is very looked up to within the Black community. And that's not to say that he's not looked up to in other communities. But one of my biggest things that I've noticed is just, it's really lacking a conversation about mental health therapy, especially in our Black communities, our people of color communities. And so the main person I'm going to talk about today for that exact reason is Michael B. Jordan. So for those of you who did not hear, this was about a month ago or so, where they talk about this interview that was done with Michael B. Jordan, and he talks about his experience playing Killmonger, if I'm saying that correctly. I did love Black Panther, but I'm not good with names. But he played Killmonger. Obviously, I would hope that like everybody saw that, but just in case you didn't, he was obviously like the bad guy. He was the villain within that movie. And so he talks about how playing that character was very difficult for him. And so I'm going to read a little bit of what the articles say, because all the articles kind of say the same thing. But I'm going to read a little bit of it so you have an idea. So he talks about how after he finished playing the character, so he said, I found myself kind of in the routine of being isolated and went out of my way to make sure I was by myself and didn't say too much more than the usual. Once I got finished wrapping the movie, it took me some time to talk through how I was feeling and why I was feeling so sad and like a little bit depressed. Jordan said that he talked to a therapist a few times and that it took him about a month to get past what he was feeling by getting back to just doing regular things, like being present with his friends and family. Not just being in the room, but being present and engaging. So they talk a little bit more, but that's like the basics of what he says. And so people took that and said, oh, wow, Michael B. Jordan went to therapy and made a whole bunch of articles about it. So this made me really happy, and not to say like I'm happy when people go to therapy, but I do get very excited. And I think that's because I know as a therapist and as a clinician, as a counselor, that people don't talk about it enough. And people really miss that, like, you don't have to be on the verge of harming yourself or harming someone else to go to therapy. Therapy is something that is beneficial for just everyday life. Talking about what happened to you that week, what's going on, having someone to sit there and reflect with, someone who can just listen to you without a bias, like your mom or your best friend. And so I know that this is a very happy thing because it's something that we can all benefit from, in my opinion, obviously. And my training just goes to show that as well. So for me, I was very happy when I heard about this because it just goes to show that anybody can benefit from the awesomeness of mental health and therapy, especially when the people who we look up to in society are needing some of that reflection and self-help as well from somebody else. And when I say self-help, obviously, like, people think of like self-help books. That's not what I'm referring to. I mean helping oneself. A lot of people will rely on themselves to grow, and that's great because you can't help yourself do that. But sometimes, again, having that person sitting there across from you can provide an outside look at you as well. And so I'm just very happy to know that people are doing this. Celebrities are going out and engaging in therapy, and they're talking about their experience and how it's been beneficial for them without making it look like it's a negative thing or a bad thing. And especially in this scenario where he's played this character, I'm just gonna tell you guys, okay, I am an empath. If you don't know what that is, maybe I'll talk about it in a different video, but this made me happy also because this means that when Michael B. Jordan takes on a character, he truly takes on this character. He's not just, okay, I'm gonna play this role. Like, he is living and breathing that. And I think a lot of the best actors and actresses do that. You have to, because you are being this person for the audience that's watching. And so he truly took on this character, that it had that much of an impact on him that he did need to process it and go through it with somebody else to be back to his old self. And so yes, like, this could have been a lot more detailed, and in the conversation that he had with this individual may have been that. But I mean, even this basic, hey, this had this impact on me, I did go to therapy for it, I think is just great, because it's just this honest, open conversation about what he has gone through and his willingness to share that, to be present about it. So Trey, my partner, who films all of these videos, just informing that that's called method acting. And I apologize because, like I said, like, I just watch stuff. I never know who the actor or actress is or that much about them. But yes, it's called method acting. You know what? I probably should know that, considering like I have done acting in the past. But yes, so method acting is what that's called. And clearly I think it's great because that person is truly getting to tell that story. And I think that's what acting is really about. And I think Viola Davis, her acceptance speech at something last year, I don't know what it was. See, I told you guys I'm really bad with those things. But she talks about that, how they're getting to tell stories. And I think that's probably one of the best pieces about it. So I just wanted to hit on that because, like I said, it makes me very happy. I believe a couple weeks ago, I heard about Michelle Obama and how she was open about her and Barack going to therapy, which I'm sure I'll talk about at some point. I think she talks about it in her book. I have not gotten to that point in her book yet, but if you haven't read that, it's great, by the way. But I just wanted to hit on that because, like I said, for me, it was just great to hear about somebody being open and honest about going and how it was beneficial for them. And even though he only went for a month, I can tell you guys, some people come to us for one session, and that one session is enough to have a transformation where they don't keep seeing us. And we're taught in school that just because somebody only sees us once doesn't mean that we failed them. They may have gotten what they needed from us just from sitting down with us once. So I just want you guys to be mindful of that. If you're not aware, that you don't have to like make a commitment out of the gate to therapy. If you decide to come, you can literally come for a session, see how you like it, and decide if you want to continue. And I will hit on that in another video, I'm sure, because that's a great thing to talk about. But for today's purpose anyway, I think it's great that people are talking about this, that there's conversations taking place. I just don't think that they're taking place enough, which is why I'm here. And I want to try to make these conversations happen because I think that it's totally normal to need support and connection at times. And for some reason, we're taught that that's a bad thing and that we shouldn't. So that's all I got for you today. If you haven't checked out the article, all you have to do is just like Google Michael B. Jordan therapy and probably 100 things will come up because it was like a oh my gosh thing. And I would just hope that at some point it won't be a huge oh my gosh thing, because it'll be a very normalized thing for someone just to reach out for support if they need it. So that's all I got on this topic. If you have any questions or comments, as always, there's a comment section below all of this if you scroll down. And if you want to hear more about things like this, you can always subscribe. Yeah, so thank you. I appreciate your time. About everybody, yeah. I should make some time, baby. I need to make time for myself. I know. I worry about everybody, yeah. I should make some time, baby. I need to make time for myself.